Now, in Matthew 24, 7 to 15, it has this to say.
Matthew 24:7, 15. 7 For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes, in divers places. 8 All these are the beginning of sorrows. 9 Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. 10 And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. 11 And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. 12 And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. 13 But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. 14 And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. 15 When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
So just listen to that. Now Jesus here is telling us, they're asking the people what's going to be a sign of your coming at the end of the world. And he says that when you see these things start to happen, that's when you know the end is near. Then he said, and this gospel, what was he speaking about? Well, he's speaking about that he loves us no, he wasn't speaking about, he was telling us prophecy. All prophecy points to one or more of 3 locations, or direction better said. It is the first coming of the Son of God, first coming, the second coming, which hasn't taken place yet, and the third coming, which is after the 1,000 years. When he said, in Revelation, so the new city come out of Jerusalem, come down out of heaven, prepare as a bride adorned to her husband. That is the third coming. This is where we're going to live for all eternity. We're going to spend 1,000 years in heaven, and we're going to come back here, and we're going to live here for all eternity. This is going to be our home. It was designed to be our home, and it's going to be our home, because God said whatever He decided, whatever He wanted to do, that He's going to do. Sin came and made a havoc, made a mock, but God's plan is still in place. See, the devil can't mess up God's plan. God knows what's going to happen before it happens. So someone that knows everything, you really can't surprise them. You can't do anything to spoil their plan, because they already know what's going to happen. So especially if you know what's going to happen, how can you not prepare for that, or how can you not put that inside the plan? So it's a done deal. Better no. Jesus here is telling his disciples what the prophecy is. He just gives them a prophecy. When you see these things, he tells them what's going to happen. That is a prophecy, something that hasn't happened yet. He said, when you see this happening, and this gospel is going to be preached. What was he talking about? He was talking about the end of the world. He was talking about prophecy. And he said, and this gospel is going to be preached in all the world as a witness. That's right. The gospel is going to be preached as a witness. No one's going to get up and say that, I didn't know, I didn't hear. No, because it has to be preached as a witness. And especially at the end of the world. At the end of the world, nobody's going to have any excuse. Well, no one's ever going to have any excuse, but especially at the end of the world, everyone has to know what the gospel is. And now you're hearing what the gospel actually is. Now, let's go to the second example that Jesus gave. That one was found in Matthew 24, 7 to 15. You can go ahead and read it. The next example is Matthew 26, 1 to... the first one is found in Matthew 24, 7 to 15. The second one is found in Matthew 26, 1 to 13. Now, we're going to go ahead and read that. Matthew 26, 1 to 13. Let's put it here in the reader.
Matthew 26:1, 13. 1 And it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, 2 Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. 3 Then assembled together the chief priests, and the scribes, and the elders of the people, unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas. 4 And consulted that they might take Jesus by subtlety, and kill him. 5 But they said, Not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. 6 Now when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper. 7 There came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head, as he sat at meat. 8 But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? 9 For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor. 10 When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. 11 For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. 12 For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. 13 Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman hath done, be told for a memorial of her. Note, Jesus was speaking.
Okay. First thing, let's just look at what Jesus actually said and what he didn't say. Jesus is speaking in verse 2. He is prophesying again of what is going to... Remember, he is alive. He's not dead. In verse 2, he's not dead. He is still alive and he's speaking. He is telling them what the Pharisees and the rulers are going to do before it happens. That is a prophecy. Now, we get down to verse 13 again. He's speaking again. And what is he telling them? He said, and wheresoever this gospel is preached. Now, what was he just talking about? He was just talking about his death, that they were going to kill him. He was prophesying that they were going to kill him. And then we get down to verse 12 again, with verse 11 and 12. He started actually 10, 11, 12, 13. Jesus starts to speak again. And he said, this gospel. Now, he was speaking about his death and burial, right? That's what he was speaking about. Now, is that saying now that the death and burial is the gospel? No, it's not saying that. It is talking about what he was speaking about, right? Ultimately, all of that is within the gospel. But the gospel is not that, you see. It is part of the gospel. It is what the gospel is proving. See, this is what the gospel is. The gospel is the proof of these things. In this second example, Jesus also is referring to prophecy, and he is calling that and this gospel. He said, this is what you are going to preach about. Right? This, wherever you preach about, whenever you teach, explain what happened here, you are also going to say what this lady did. So this is also going to go, wherever my gospel goes, this is also going to be a memorial for this lady. Let's go to the third example. We find that in Mark 14, 1-9. We're not going to read all of it here, but I do recommend that you actually take your time and actually read. Don't accept anything anyone says without actually going to the Word. This is what the Bereans say. There was no one like that. They studied the Scripture daily to see if these things. This is the problem. We don't want to study. Where's daily? We don't want to know if these things are so. The pastors are so. Yes, okay, that's good enough for me. And you don't know that it's your soul salvation that's on the line, not the pastor's. He's going to have to work by himself. But in the end, many people are going to say, oh, but the pastor said this, the pastor said. I don't tell the pastor that. What did I tell you? I don't know. Why don't you know? I go by what he said. You go with him then. Now let's go to this the third example. As I said, there's only 3 in the entire Bible where it says this gospel, and it's all 3 times it's Jesus that says it. So you don't have any excuse. Okay, Paul said, no, Jesus said it, and it's his gospel. It's not Paul's gospel or Peter's gospel. No, it is the gospel of Jesus. And he told us what it is. So let's go ahead now and listen to Mark 14, 1-9. We're not going to read it all, like I say, but I do recommend that you actually read it there.
About something that was going to happen in 2 days to him. He was prophesying of his death. Mark 14, 1, 9. 1 after 2 days was the feast of the Passover, and of unleavened bread, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft, and put him to death. 2 But they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people. 9 Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her.
Now here it doesn't, he's not giving any problem, he's not saying anything actually. He just says where this gospel, but this is the same account from Matthew 26. Matthew 26. It is the same account, just another apostle is giving it. And here in Matthew 26 he's referring to a prophecy. So in all 3 cases, Jesus was referring to prophecy when he said gospel. Now let's bring it down to simple terms that we can understand. Some simple logic, common sense, I better say it. And this is the kind of intelligence that Jesus was bringing out in his hearers. Common sense. He would give them simple example, and they would just think, wow, that makes a lot of sense. It doesn't have, we want such complicated thing that we can't understand. And when we cannot understand, we say, okay, I accept it by faith. But that is not faith, brothers and sisters. That's not the faith of the Bible, brother said.